Y'all, the wind is blowing. Oh my God, but it feels so good out here. All right, y'all. Let me get to my car. All right, so y'all, today. So I was in the house today. Woo, showing all my goods. Okay, day, right? And I was in the house today. I let the air condition. Sorry, but anyway, y'all, I was in the house today. So I was watching a movie, right? And my sister is here from she's here from Georgia, right? So I'm sitting here watching a movie, I fix breakfast and everything, y'all. So, y'all, what is this? Okay. So I'm sitting in the bed watching this movie that I already saw, y'all. And if you follow me, you know I love to watch movies, right? So I'm thinking about, about this movie, and then it started kind of, you made me start thinking of things, right? It was about this. It was, I think it was the movie was What About Kevin, right? And it was this kind of demented movie. So y'all know, imagine what my frame of mind was as I began to thinking, right? It was about this mother, right? And it started off, she had this child, right? So it goes back in time, and then it goes like to reality, right? To her reality. So it shows her having given birth to this child. I'm trying to wait to the air condition No sound. Can you hear me now? Wow, that's crazy. No sound. Okay. So y'all, I'll check back in with y'all later. Okay. Can you hear me now? Oh, you can hear me? Oh my God. So I was talking about me, watching a movie. I'm in the house, and here is I'm staying in the house, and it's such a beautiful day outside. And I'm telling you, when you deal with grief and things, and depression and things, the devil can have you just going down a rabbit hole, thinking about things that you can't change. Why? To get you stuck. And I said, no. Hey, Tay. So I said, let me get myself out, let me get myself dressed and things like that, so I try to be as transparent as I can, because some of us go through things like that. And you thinking about, so the enemy had me thinking about things that I couldn't change, all because this movie. And the movie was called What About Kevin, right? So it goes about this lady, and she is and the movie goes back in time then to her present, right? So her child is very disturbed, and so is she. And that was something, how you see a movie over and over again, you start to see things. And I'm like, I was focusing first really on her child. And I started focusing on her, but my mind went back to my childhood. So I was like, oh no, the devil ain't gonna get me like that. So I said, let me get myself up, y'all, out of bed, out of bed, and yeah, out of bed into the sun. Like, and what I said to myself, and I said to God, I'm not going to let another day of sunshine go by and I don't get out into the sun. And sometimes you got to get out. Sometimes you got to get beyond your thoughts, periods of overthinking, right? Thinking about things that you can't change, right? Just because, instead of getting out, getting into nature. So I just want to encourage you, and whoever this is for, get out. Get out of that dark place wherever you are, right? Go outside, sit on the porch, take a walk, right? Don't waste another day of this day that God has given you, not for nothing deep, but just to enjoy, right? Instead of engulfing yourself in your thoughts, in your depression, right? Get out. So that's all I wanted to say, y'all. And then I wanted to check in on my friends and see how y'all are doing. I try to, share, some things that I'm going through, because it might help somebody. Because here I am sitting around, and I'm like, let me go check on my sister, and get a little bit dressed, right? I'm nothing glamorous, but sometimes we miss opportunities like that. And like I said, it doesn't really have to be deep, but sometimes you gotta get beyond your negative surroundings, right? Get out of that overthinking, right? Sometimes there are going to be situations that you just really don't have any control over. So what you going to do? You got to move forward, right? And that's what I was doing. And my mind started thinking about my mother, thinking about my relationship, going back into that cycle, right? Into that cycle of grief. And I'm like, oh, heck nah. So, Anthony, what you say? Want to hear the sandwich? Now, see, here goes somebody trying to, Anthony. Now you started off good. You started off helping me and saying yes, and now you want to talk about something that I ain't even talking about. Now what you talking about? Yeah. Let me hear what you gotta say. Y'all, people, where do y'all get on this app and torture me, right? I'm telling you, I'm trying to talk about something that don't have nothing to do with here the sandwich and fine construction worker again, if possible. Wait a minute. What are you talking about, Anthony? If it was something that I said that I want to hear about this. Oh, define construction. What you say, like a plant seeing the early morning sun growing or growth. Some say tapping into a frequency. Absolutely. After you to my last week's story when you were eating the sandwich. Oh yeah. See, I got people that actually come back to this app, Tay. Thank you for that beautiful thing. Yes, yes, Anthony. I really had a time. Yeah, he talking about a story that I was saying about this guy, right? So this guy was going back and forth. So mind you, I'm about to go on live and talk about my life of celibacy and being single, right? And just trying to keep myself together. And here go this guy driving back and forth, right? So y'all, you can. I know, Anthony. So y'all, he going back and forth, right? So okay, y'all back. So, yeah. So I ain't really think nothing of it, and then I'm just thinking to myself, just not paying attention to him, eating my food, right? Food, just food stuffed, right? So he goes back and forth. Then he comes back, right, off the bike. So I'm like, what do he want? I'm like, what do he want? He looking at me, y'all. Fine as I don't know what. And I was like, see, I was getting on here trying to tell somebody about celibacy and everything. They gonna send Denzel Washington's son to walk past me. I said, good God Almighty, right? So I'm like, looking, and then he walked slow, right? He could have went behind me, right? But he got off and went before me. Then he looked at me, smiling with all. How many teeth did you supposed to have? Well, he had all of them, y'all. Some of us don't have all of them. He had all of them, smiling, dimples, and everything. And he waving at me, and I'm like, "Hi, did I roll the windows down?" Hell to the no. No. So I'm like doing sign language. He like, why this fool is not rolling the window down? And I was like, not today, Satan. So y'all. So y'all, needless to say, I live to fight another battle, right, Anthony? Yeah. But I was like looking at him, and y'all, I'm telling you, I was saying that haven't seen nobody this fine in a long time. I'm trying to, deal with temptation and everything like that. But when you trying to live right, the enemy gonna send people, and he gonna send some fine people to y'all. So you gotta be strong. You gotta be strong. So y'all, I did not roll that window down. So I'm like, and he like, is this fool gonna roll down the window or what? And y'all, did I roll down that window? No. I don't need to be a part of nobody's roster. That was Satan. That was one of God's angels. Now, Anthony, you done took a spin to this story. You think he was asking for some money? You think he was asking for help? Should I have to say, do you need some help, sir? Needless to say, that may have been a test that I failed, but I was fighting for my life. I said, Lord, I'm trying to stay celibate, and I wasn't thinking about godly thoughts when I saw that man. I got to keep it 100. I was not thinking about godly thoughts. And see, you got to know yourself. Because God is not going to tempt me with evil. So I have to decline that. I'm going to have to decline that remark. Because I don't think that was God's angels. I think he was trying to make me a part of his roster, and it was hard because he was looking fine, had perfect teeth, had dimples. He said he was gonna ask you to share yourself. He didn't look hungry. See, see what I'm saying? No, he didn't look hungry at all, and it was a. I was in a place the man could have ordered his sandwich, but why he gonna come out here and just try to show off? He could have went behind my car, but he gonna come in. I said, Lord, that had to been the devil. Do y'all put a one in the chat if y'all think that was the devil? Put a two if you think that that was God. One for the devil, two for God. I don't think that was him. Cause I'm not, mind you, I'm talking about celibacy in my old single age. And everybody trying to fix me up with somebody, thinking I'm lonely. No, I'm trying to get my mind is clear. I got joy, joy in my soul. I'm telling you, I've been married half of my life. I can go where I want to go. It's benefits, y'all. Don't let nobody, push y'all off your game. If you fighting for your celibacy, you trying to do it God's way, stick and stay, because it's a lot of craziness out there. Men on the DL. You got me. You said he is. You're trolling me now. He is a creation of God, and God doesn't make. Well, the Bible says that the devil comes as an angel of light. I think it was a wolf in sheep's clothing. Because I was like, oh my God. I had to regroup for a minute. I had to gather myself, y'all. I was like, whoa. And had I would have rolled the windows down, I just don't know what had happened. But you fight. This is how you fight temptation. This is a real thing. This is my life, y'all. And some of y'all fighting for your life. Don't give in. I don't care how fine she is, especially married people too. Come on now. Just because you got a husband or wife, you think the enemy is not going to send somebody to tempt you? He was like, it's like, you said, was his fine, you talking about he was light and his fine smile. Yeah, smiling at me, smiling like a chess cat. I was like, and I may have smiled a little bit, but see, I was thinking about celibacy, trying to help somebody, but guess what? Mine was not on celibacy. He was checking me out, and I was checking him out. But did I roll down that window? No. Y'all, was it he sent by God or sent from the devil? I need some insight. I can take another opinion. But I'm telling you, like I said, even for y'all married people, God, the enemy will send somebody too. You get into an argument with your girl, don't have to. You could be in a relationship, and here comes somebody trying to knock you off your square, trying to make you homeless before the weather break. You know how when it get cold, they say the cheaters go back in. They want to go home. I was saying to somebody, I ain't gonna say no names. Whoever you are, if you're watching this video, you shall remain nameless. But they leave every time the summer hits. I'm like, girl, you can't be leaving your husband every time the summer hits. What the devil? One day you ain't gonna be able to come back. What you say? As you said, at least you know your vision is good, right? And they say I'm nearsighted. That means I can see near, but I can't see far. I got glasses but because I can't see far, like for night vision. But I seen him. I see him clear as day. See, it's selective. Um, it's selective vision. That's what I have. My nephew was telling me, he was like, you better be looking at your surroundings and things like that. You don't pay attention too much. Well, I sure was paying attention to that day. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Everything. He was just walking, just looking. Dimples. Right? Did I tell you about the dimples? He had dimples. Now, what make me so special? I wasn't glammed up. I had no makeup on that day. Just a regular old person. Stuff in my face. No, I'm not falling for that, Anthony. Yep, but my vision was perfectly intact that day. Yeah, I love y'all. I gotta go and visit my sister. I just wanted to pop on just to say have a blessed day, y'all. Get out in this sun. Do not sit in the house. I had to check in on my family to see how y'all doing, to see if y'all can feel me. So y'all got any plans for today? And where everybody coming from? I'm in Michigan, and y'all, the day before yesterday, we got caught in a tornado, y'all. I thought I was in one of the scene. Remember the Wizard of Oz when Dorothy was when the witch was riding and it was a tornado and she was on that on that bike. We were coming from a baby shower. You said get out and see more construction workers. You you trying to get me in trouble. Anthony, why you trying to get me in trouble? You saying it's all right to look? Just don't touch, huh? Sometimes you gotta cover your eyes. I'm trying to live for the Lord now, and it ain't easy. Some nights be long and dark and cold, but I have to pray my way because I did it on my own and it didn't work out. Yeah. Anyway, Anthony, I was in this the day before yesterday, right? So I'm going. You said that's what you're recommending. Yes, yes. But I was in this store. I was coming from this baby shower, me and my family, right? So my sister was driving. Mind you, sidebar, she has a bulging disc. Haven't been on restriction from driving. This is about her third time driving. I said, "Oh my God, Lord, please forgive me all my sins." I said, she was driving, yeah, she was driving like this. I said, and then the sky started getting blacker and blacker. It was raining, and we could. I said, "Can you see? Can you see?" She said, "Yeah, yeah, I can see." I said, "But I can't see, so how can you see?" She lied. She lied because she knew I was freaking out. So I told the kids. We had three kids with them. I said, "Y'all, shut up." They looked at me. I said, "Pray." It's time to pray. And the poor babies was like, they had their hands together. And I was like, "Lord, please help us through this storm because I'm telling you, the sky just got black. It was raining. You couldn't see nothing." And then afterwards, I asked my sister, I said, "Could you really see?" She said, "No." She was looking at the lines. I said, "I just wanted to just pass out." She said she was looking at the lines. I said, "Why didn't you just pull over?" She was like, "No, no, no. I wanted to get out of this." And eventually she drove out, but had us all in danger. I know she couldn't see. She said, "Yes." You said, "Pray. It's not our time to see the Lord." Yes. And she driving like this, y'all. I said, I said, glasses on. I'm like, girl, can you see? And she said, yeah, I can see. Couldn't see a thing. I said, you driving too fast. Slow down. And she just was driving hard headed. She hard headed like me, y'all. And I said, girl. And I was like, slow down. I said, kids, shut up. I told my babies. I usually don't talk like that to them kids. But I told them kids, I said, shut up and pray. And they started saying, nah, lay me down to sleep. Now let me down to sleep. I said, dang, that's the only prayer they know. I ain't doing my job as an auntie. I gotta teach them to pray. So I started praying out loud, and they was looking at me. One had one eye open, one closed. I said, and the other sister was on the side, ain't said a word. Now she always want to put her 2, 3, 4, and 5 cents in everything, but this time she ain't. She may have been praying because she may have seen I was hysterical. Maybe somebody should have slapped me or so. I was like, Lord, this is not the time for me to go. I do not want to go like this, big y'all. The sky was, I mean, it was black. Rain was coming down. Cars was pulled over. Some cars were just, I mean, it was just so scary. I'm like, nobody knew it was gonna be a tornado warning, which it was. I was like, oh my God, right? So here it is, Juneteenth. And I started to say, who has a baby shower on Juneteenth? But I guess you was gonna make sure that we was all gonna come, cause we did. Everybody showed up and showed out. I said, golly. And when I was just telling you, and then I was trying to call my other sister to see where she at. Never. I mean, she never answers her phone. But let me miss one call. She said, I don't know what you're doing, but you better pick up this phone. Now all of a sudden she wanna be violent. And I said, I only miss one call. She said, I don't care. I said, you don't answer your phone. She said, you gotta do what I do. I said, really? That's how you feel? Anyway, never answered the phone, right? So I was like, girl, why you didn't answer your phone? She said, I was trying to concentrate. I'm like, you didn't see me trying to check on you. You ain't see me trying to check on you. She like, yeah, but our girl was a mess. I said, guess, and I said, you know who was driving? She said, oh my God. Like that, like Marvin Sapp's that song, so glad I made it. I could have lost my life. I made it through, y'all. I'm telling you, you talking about a sister praying. That was a scary moment in Michigan. You know, I love Michigan weather, but it was a mess, y'all. I was like, oh my God, Juneteenth. I said, Lord, we don't want to be a headline. I said, oh my God, but my sister admitted that she couldn't see. She's like, girl, I ain't want to be in all that. That's why she was kind of speeding. I'm like, if you don't slow down, and I know, like I said, she wanted to slap me. Now, I always tease her because she did slap me one time. This is when we was little. Yeah, that's the one that slapped me one time. I caught her doing something that she wasn't supposed to be doing, and she said, "Are you gonna tell?" I said, "Let me think about it." And she said, "Well, here, let me give you something to think." And then today, y'all, she said that she don't remember that. I'm like, what? You don't remember my trauma? You remember when somebody slapped you in your face? Oh, open hand slap, y'all. She said, "Well, let me give you something to think about." So, needless to say, I said to myself, "Self." After I was hollering and screaming, I said, "Let me shut up before she slapped me again." Y'all, I love y'all. I love y'all so much. Look, I will talk to y'all later. Happy Saturday, y'all. Enjoy this Saturday. And remember what I said. Don't stay in, get out. Okay? I love y'all. Bye.